What's up, peeps? Today is the fourth episode of Feast, Frank, Eric, Andy Social Talk. And today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn messaging and our do's and don'ts, some tips that may be helpful when you're either sending an outbound message through LinkedIn or maybe you're receiving them, and what you like to see. And that's exactly what I'm going to focus on today is I'm not someone who sends a lot of outbound LinkedIn messages, but I do receive a lot of them. And just early this morning, I looked through a couple of the recent messages I received from some folks, and what's really a turnoff to me as a business owner, as someone who gets targeted through sales and other tactics here, just the way I like to be approached is more of a starting relationship. So reaching out and not just dumping what you're going to do for me, how you're going to help me, how you're going to change my life, and what your service is going to do for me. That's going to basically drastically change where I'm at today and where I may be tomorrow. I don't want to hear that in our first message. So reaching out and maybe just throwing something kind of light out there to begin the relationship and asking to learn more or just be engaged is really what I like to see. Not a message that says, click my link, put 15 minutes in my calendar, and let's jump on the phone. Because most of the time, I would imagine anyone's going to ignore that. I think starting the relationship, building some trust with that person, even if it's outside of the messaging first, and then bringing it into the messaging, that's a great way of liking someone's stuff and sending some comments on their material, and then bringing it to the private side of the message and starting that dialogue. So for me, that's something that I would say, don't do the dumping in the content of your content in someone's message, but do start the relationship and maybe do it outside and bring it inside. Eric, what do you think?
Good stuff, Frank. Hey, social friends. Listen, I call sending direct messages to strangers with a big vomit of information. I call that like a cheesy pickup line, quite candidly. It's ridiculous. I don't know about you, but put yourself in the shoes of the person getting it. You are getting these direct messages, right? You are getting this spam of, I can build you a website. That's how I get those all the time. I can help you with SEO, search engine optimization. I can do this, I can do that, buy, me. Do you respond, right? So if you're watching this right now, do you respond to all that? How do you respond to it? Do you respond in a positive way? Do you respond in a negative way? Listen, my best advice I can give you when it comes to creating a meaningful relationship through let's be honest, a stranger, right? Somebody across the country you may probably have never met. The best advice I can give you is nothing short of just watching and quite candidly watching a few Gary Vee videos. And you know what that is? Give them value, number one. And number two, make it about them, not about you. It has to be about them. Too often when people ask me about social media, it's all about me. And they're wondering and scratching their heads and questioning why they're not getting interaction and engagement and why they have the best product and the best service in the world, and they send a direct message to anybody USA and they're not getting any responses. Are you making it about yourself or are you making it about them? I reached out to a multi-millionaire right here in my home area of Baltimore, Maryland, and I sent him a message about himself, a common interest that we have. And long story short, he did respond. It was not me selling anything. And over the course of a 3-month baseball season, we created a really strong online LinkedIn relationship that ended up leading to an in-person visit. Full candor, full transparency. We haven't done business together. But again, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Make it about them. Andy, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, here's the thing. Your network is your net worth, and your LinkedIn connections are no different. So you have to remember and think about why you're making LinkedIn connections. Are you just trying to sell people stuff, or are you actually trying to create a relationship with people? Look at your LinkedIn connections like dating. Would you take somebody out to coffee? After your first coffee, would you ask them to marry you? Start talking about naming your kids? No. So when you're going to make connections on LinkedIn, create a relationship with them. Find common interests, as Eric said, that you might have with that connection and start talking about it. Start having a conversation. So here's the challenge we want to throw out to you this week. Find 5 connections you have right now in your LinkedIn group or your LinkedIn connections. and start a conversation with them this week. Just 5. And if you have any questions around what do I say, what's the perfect way to engage a connection of mine, reach out to Frank, Eric, or I. We're happy to help. And next week, we're going to continue diving into more ways that you can up-level your LinkedIn and social media game. So look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks.
All right. With that, you got it. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Frank. Guys, don't just have a good day. Make it a great day. Peace.